My current role is Vice President of Purchasing in North America for the automotive sector of Bosch, the direct material, so everything which goes into our production, our parts, our products. We are managing purchasing volume over 2 billion euros in the region. We employ more than 400 people, and we manage over 600 suppliers here in the region, and all relevant purchasing functions are represented. I will talk about Bosch a little bit, what this company is like. We are headquartered in Germany, and North America is a very important region for us. We strive to grow very strongly in the future in North America, and we are looking for new suppliers, capable suppliers. And I want to talk about our expectations and what is needed for you to become a Bosch supplier. So, first, a few words about the company. I called my title the biggest independent Tier 1 supplier. Why? Because Bosch is a private company. We are not owned by investment companies. We don't have stocks outside of our hands. So this is a purely private company. A company with over 420,000 people worldwide. A company with more than 88 billion euros of turnover. And I think this is a unique setup in the world. We do everything to stay independent. We want to grow on our own. We want to innovate on our own. And this is why suppliers also are very important for us. If you see that out of 88 billion turnover, there's more than 5% every year in research and development, and more than 5% every year in machinery or capital expenditures. So this company invests continuously into the future and builds on new technologies. And this is the secret for us to stay successful and independent at the same time. So the main sectors within Bosch are on this slide. Mobility solutions, which is the area we are working on here in North America also. But we have also industrial technology. You will find machinery built by Bosch. You will find industrial technology for infrastructure. You might know the brand of Rexroth, which is a Bosch brand, and it's out of the industrial sector. We have energy and building technologies. We provide security systems for buildings, for stadiums, for hotels. We have energy solutions for heating and energy management. And last but not least, consumer goods, which is power tools. Everybody knows probably the Bosch brands of power tools, and also the household appliances. So these are the main sectors of Bosch, and we will concentrate today more on the mobility solutions. If we look at the distribution of the business of the 88 billion, you can see that mobility solution is the backbone of our business. It always has been, and it's supposed to be also in the future. No matter what the technology change will look like, we will stay strong as a mobility solution provider in the future. You can see that consumer goods is at second place already, which is very important for us. It's a different market, of course. It's closer to the end customer. It's closer to the marketplace. And then industrial technology and energy and building technology are more on the same level. Now, if you look geographically on the distribution we have, you can see that Europe is our main area for business. We have heavily invested in Asia in the past 20, 25 years, and now comes a phase where we will push much more in North America. And North America for us means Canada, US, and Mexico. And we will start putting more effort into the region, and this is why this visit here for us and I'm here with a part of my team, is also important for us to know new opportunities in the supply base. So let's talk a little bit about mobility solutions. What is the background of this? Bosch is a leading provider for mobility solutions, and in the past it has been more components for the engine management, for the braking systems, maybe security devices, maybe oxygen sensors. In the future it will be much more integrated solutions. We will work on connectivity, on electrification. We will combine our domains into new solutions for the customer, for the end customer, for you. It's all about efficiency, it's all about energy consumption, it's all about safety. So mobility solutions will stay as a leading provider for new technologies in the marketplace. This mobility solutions, and we saw the turnover before, employs 226,000 people worldwide. So that's a huge company itself. And we are growing in North America continuously. We have 7 plants in Mexico already, more than in the US. And we are growing continuously also with new divisions like household appliances, which is not mobility solutions, and Rexroth are also coming into Mexico. So the opportunities for a supplier are wide at this point in time. What are we focusing on is the connectivity side of it. So we will make sure that vehicles communicate with each other in the future, that safety is enhanced on the street. We will put new technologies out on electrification. We are working on first customer projects with e-axle. We are working on power electronics for the future. You will see hydrogen applications from Bosch coming up. So all of this is into alternative technologies and powertrain solutions. We will work on automation. You will be able to park your car in the future into a parking garage without touching your vehicle anymore. It will go to its place on its own. It will return to you when you approach the parking garage. And the personalization is that we want to develop products and services which are tailored to the needs of the customer. So mobility solutions for us not only is cars, it's also e-bikes, it is scooters, it will be other forms of transportation in the future. We are working with the main players in the market like Tesla, but we're also working on new electrification concepts with truck producers, for example, in order to efficiency on the road for the trucks in the future. So now let's talk a little bit about our expectations. I will not talk about new things. It's not a rocket science. It's base requirements. You probably will understand this and identify this. But I can tell you, Bosch is a challenging customer. It will not be easy to enter into Bosch and to stay in Bosch. But once you perform, you will face a medium long-term relationship with us. And that is a difference we have versus other players in the market. In purchasing in Bosch, we are not changing our partners every 6 months just because we have a little problem. So let's talk about the expectations here. First of all, there's a minimum requirement, and this is nothing new, no surprise for you, that you will have to fulfill IATF or ISO certifications in the first place. It's a base checkpoint for us. Before that, we don't even go into discussion with you. After this, Bosch will apply internal audits, internal methods in order to see if you are strong enough, if you are systematic enough, if you are structured enough, if you have a good management, a long-term vision, and so forth. And this is part of our P1 audits. We also look into corporate social responsibility, because that develops into a more and more important aspect of a supplier-customer relationship. If we find out that you are not following the basic requirements of corporate social responsibility, we will stop business with you, very clearly. Once you have entered into this application phase and we are starting first projects with you, we will give you a first part. We will look how you design your process. We will go on site and see if the process works. We will do a run at rate, which will tell us whether you can produce a certain amount of pieces in a specific time period. When this has happened, then we move on into a full and complete PPAP release, like it's normal and common in the automotive industry. So no surprises here. If you look ahead, our requirements will extend now into more broader views. We will look at CO2 emission. Do you have an idea how to reduce your consumption? Do you have an idea how to avoid conflict minerals or any kind of material which is suspect? Will you be able to avoid maybe materials coming from China because the US government is not allowing this anymore? So our view and our checkpoints will widen quite a bit in the future when it comes to qualification of a supplier. So what do we expect once you have entered this door and this gate? I want to talk about 5 different areas here. Mindset, future-oriented management, sourcing strategy, professional project management and communication, and adaptability. And I want to explain a little bit more into depth what I mean with that. If we talk about the mindset, it's not enough to just have a good quality system in place, to have a quality manager. That's normal, that's standard. What we want our suppliers to be is very responsible, very reflective on their own systems, always looking for continuous improvement, always questioning what's going on the shop floor, always thinking about how to improve the systems and the processes in order that 100% quality leaves your plant in the required quantity on time. So quality management for us is a lot more. It comes from the leadership position, very clearly. If leaders are not living the quality philosophy, this continuous improvement mindset, the people will not follow on the shop floor. So we will look at you as leaders, at your management, how they are dealing with the people on the shop floor, how they are dealing with the operations, what they're questioning, what is the cycle of your PDCA in order to improve. And we are also here to help you. We have people who have competence in training your people, in making seminars, in going on site and helping you in 5S, in lean management. We can do this, but of course not for every supplier. So if it's needed in a certain situation, we will help you. Future-oriented mindset. It is not enough to just release a part and grow business with us. It's for us much more important that we see a strategic outlook of your company, that you want to grow. You want to grow with Bosch or with other main customers. How is the distribution of the volumes between us and other customers? We don't want to be the 80% turnover share of you, because then we would have too much influence on your destiny. But we want you to be aware of a customer portfolio, on a development of business, balanced with other customers and with Bosch, and to have a scenario, a view into the future. We will also talk about where are your production sites? Are you growing with us? Can you go to other countries with us? Do you have a global footprint? Sourcing strategy. Now, the pandemic has shown us that The whole systems of logistics around the globe are very volatile. We've seen that things didn't work out anymore, which had worked out for decades. So the question is, where are your sub-suppliers? Where is your material coming from? Do you have alternatives? Do you look into an alternative plan for your materials? What do you do if there's a bottleneck in one of your suppliers, because this bottleneck will influence the deliveries to Bosch? We want you to be self-responsible and going ahead with thoughts and solutions in order to mitigate the risk. We don't want to be in a situation where we have to tell our customer, because our supplier cannot get material, we will stop your production line 2 days from now. I can tell you that the discussions with the OEMs, the Fords, the GMs, the Teslas, are not very funny when it comes to line stoppages. So we want our suppliers to be very self-responsible in going regional, in finding new ways of supplying your own production facilities. And the cost competitiveness is, of course, something we will check continuously with you, because we need to know that we have the best cost level with the quality which is expected. Professional project management and communication. It's not good to run into situations where we are surprised. Our customers will be surprised. Maybe even you are surprised because you do not have a clear transparency of your own supply chain. So the utmost requirement here is transparency to us. Between purchasing and logistics of Bosch and our suppliers, we want to have a clear picture. We do not have this every day, I can tell you. And it's not funny to talk about those topics. But it's a requirement that you go ahead and you are proactive in communicating to us potential risks, potential situations, how to mitigate this. To be honest, direct and fast. Don't hide anything. It's better to put the things on the table than to fight against a crisis 2, 3, 4 weeks later with a lot of stress. And the stress is it's not nice for you, it's not nice for us. And finally, the adaptability. So that is something where we want to see that you can deal with unexpected situations, that you can work with alternative scenarios, that you find solutions when it comes to a bottleneck of people, for example, of material, that you really understand the situation that an uninterrupted supply is the utmost target here. And our quality systems are very rigid, so it doesn't make sense to push for, let me say, compromises on quality, because they will show up. If they don't show up in our incoming inspection, they will show up in the products, in the final run of our products. Then the whole value add is waste, and we will have to talk with you about charging back those costs. So it's very important for us to stay on a very high level, the highest possible level in terms of quality and supply. So finally, I want to show you where our search areas are right now, because of course we need a lot of different categories, components, but we have a certain need in certain areas. And those areas are on my next slide. So the focus categories we are looking for in North America at this very moment are motors, plastic metal hybrid components, wire harnesses and cables, steering castings, large stamp parts, connectors. So you see it's a wide range, and it moves on with machining parts without secondary operations. So those parts are kind of falling down from the machine and ready to go. large deep drawn parts. We look into laminations, which is a key category for the electrification. The medium free-falling parts, and machining high precision parts with a secondary operation. So where you have to change a machine again, go to a different setup, you may assemble, you may have a different operation on top of it, you may insert components or plastic or whatever in order to make the part ready for shipment. We had 22 discussions with potential suppliers over the 2 days of this event. We are still open to find new partners and have additional conversations. So you are invited to talk with us, with me or with my colleagues after this presentation. And of course, you can always, through the webpage, go to contact information and find out what's needed and find out about names. So this concludes my presentation. I hope you have a better understanding of the company, but also a better understanding what we expect from our suppliers and what we search in the marketplace. Thank you very much.
¿Alguna pregunta?
Hi, my name is Mariana Albano, food service provider, Compass Group. We work with you in some countries in Europe. I know this is not direct product. We provide indirect with food services. And one thing that I found very challenging with Bosch is the request for having 3-year fixed prices and discount every year in a country like Mexico with the level of inflation and increase in the labor costs that we have. Is this like a standard requirement for all providers or just in some categories?
First of all, I have to say that we have a separate purchasing organization for indirect material and services. This is not in my area, but those guys are also in Mexico, US, Canada, very professional, organized, and yes, it's a basic requirement. First of all, our best scenario is a multi-year contract with you with yearly price reductions. That's our best scenario. It can be on a stable level as well, if there are reasons for it. It could be on a flexible level with, let's say, formulas on an inflation, or if you are heavily dependent on a certain material or a subservice, that we look at indicators from the industry, objective indicators, and we count that in the price model with you. But the guys from indirect purchasing will try to find a multi-year contract with you, so we have a stable relationship for a certain period of time and go from there.
¿Otra pregunta? Robert, thank you so much for this presentation. Let me other question.
Yes, just a clarification. Thank you. In the case of the graph of sales in North America, you mentioned 14.1 billion, something like that. What percentage represents Mexico in that volume or in that sales quantity?
I cannot give you the exact number, but our Mexican facilities are to 90% delivering into the US. So sales basically shows up on the US side. There's a little bit of export, maybe 2-3% outside of North America. There's a little bit in Mexico for local demand, but the rest is through the maquiladora model, goes into the factories of OEMs. So I would say 95% of the 14 billion are sales in the US. Yes? Maybe.
Good morning. One of the commodities you mentioned were semiconductors. In our case, we deal with semiconductors, but in the open market. We're brokers. And there has been a lot of shortages, spot buys. So how do we address or become a regular supplier of Bosch?
That's a tough one for you, especially because you're a broker. So first of all, we have our own facilities to produce semiconductors. We have two of them, one in Stuttgart, one in Dresden, both is Germany, for global demand. But that only serves 10-15% of our demand. The rest we buy from OEMs of semiconductors. We usually do not work with brokers. I know that we worked with brokers in the crisis, so it will be very tough for you to open the door as a broker, maybe with some really exciting offers. But that is, this is one category which is not handled in North America. We buy semiconductors only centrally from Germany for the whole demand in the world. So if you want to find a contact, we need to give you people in Stuttgart, which is fine. You can approach them from everywhere in the world, but there's no semiconductor buyer in North America. Okay?
Good morning. My name is Ken Mizumoto from Unipress. I have a question about like a really last slide. So you presented like a focus categories. I could see large stamped parts and machining high precision parts. But the question is like which type of product are you looking for these kind of technologies with?
So the stamp parts in our product portfolio, right now we have a heavy share in braking systems, where you have shells, you have booster housings out of metal plates. We do stampings also in other product areas. Maybe Cesar, do you have any hint for us? Any hint for us for stampings? Oh, you didn't hear the question. It was about where large stampings are consumed in our products.
We have large stampings as brackets, for example, also in the CC, chassis and control business, brakes. Those are the two biggest parts where we have this. In our powertrain solutions, there's not too much for large stampings.
What about the machining, like technologies, machining high precision parts?
You asking about high precision parts? They are mainly used today in the motor components for injection, diesel and gasoline. And by the way, we are not intending to go out of this business. So this business is growing for us in North America because we are taking up market share from other companies. So we will continue using high precision parts, very small high precision parts for the motor components. We are also using high precision parts for the electrification, for shafts, for example, very complex, very different material, very high requirements on the specification. So these are the main areas where we have the high precision parts.
Next question.
Hello, Robert. Thank you very much for your speech today. It was very interesting to learn all of this about Bosch. We are very aware about Bosch's presence in the automotive industry, but something that I didn't see in your presentation, and I want to ask directly if there's any initiative towards this, is working with minority-owned companies throughout North America. Is there any specific group of buyers or maybe someone that is in charge of minority, or making sure that your business is enough distributed with minority-owned companies. We are a minority-owned company certified as a minority business enterprise and a woman business enterprise in the US. And we would like to enlarge your minority portfolio of suppliers.
I want to encourage you to come to our door as a minority company. We are, of course, we are bound to US government regulations, and our customers, the OEMs, they ask us regularly, what is our share and how do we improve? And I'd like to see more minority-owned companies in our supplier portfolio, but with the exact same requirements than anybody else. So what we will not do is to give you the first rank just because you are a minority if we are not convinced that you are the best partner for us. This is how our philosophy is behind that, and this is why our minority share is quite low. But I'd like to see it increase with companies like you or any other company. So please, knock on the door.
I will look for you. Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
¿Otra pregunta?